Hey everyone, welcome to episode 334, Understanding Your Parents. Welcome to the Harmony in the Home podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Hutchison. I'm a counselor, a life coach, and most importantly, an imperfect mom doing this work right along with you. And my goal on our podcast is to go from chaos to calm, feel less frazzled, and have more fun within your four walls to have more harmony in your home. Ooh, I love this topic so much. And I really feel like when you understand this and you get this and like it goes in our brains, it helps us to understand so much and not repeat patterns that we're consciously and unconsciously going to repeat without mind management. So before I get into that, I want to talk to you about my favorite skincare line. I'm not even a skincare girly. I buy all my makeup and everything at Walgreens. So I'm very low maintenance. And herbal face food has been so amazing for my eczema, my rosacea, my sun damage from all the Florida sun of all those soccer games I played from age 4 to probably age 24. It was bad. And I had really bad acne too as a kid. And so I thought, oh, well, I can just get really sunburned and burn off the acne. The things I thought when I was younger. And I don't even know what I was thinking, but I didn't have TikTok and YouTube and Instagram to kind of educate the girlies. Cause I see girls these days and even guys, boys these days, at my age, their age is now as a teenager in high school. I was so clueless and I had no style. I had no grace or any, oh my God, the funniest story happened the other day. So I was meeting, the boys went to church at 10 o'clock and we were out of town. We were at Universal Hollywood Horror Nights, which was terrifying. I didn't go to it, but I heard about it. I just was the chaperone. And so we went to the later service, just Lily and I. And so this was so funny. So she's walking up. We drove 2 cars because I was going to see my mom afterwards and she was going to see her friend's new puppy. And so we're walking up and I the day before got full on injured at pickleball. As an athlete, I've always been taught there's a difference between hurt and injured. Right now I'm hurting, but I'm not injured. I got injured. I was do I need to call David to come pick me up? It was that bad. I don't want to make a scene, but I was making a scene and I didn't mean to make a scene, but I got literally injured on the court. I had to stop the match. I think I talked about it last week. It was traumatic because I heard my calf muscle actually pop and I felt it too. And as all those years of soccer, I was so thankful that I never had that knee popping experience or that ankle popping, when those bad injuries like the ACL or the MCL or the meniscus or you say, oh, I heard a pop or I've heard it once from a teammate and oh my gosh, it was traumatic. I can hear it right now. That's what happened to my calf muscle. I was so glad it wasn't my Achilles, but oh, my pain. And I said, oh, I need to stop. And they're oh, take a breath. I'm no, I need to get to that bench immediately. I wasn't even limping to the bench. I was hobbling. I couldn't put an ounce of pressure on it. I remember using the net as support as I'm trying to hobble over. And I sat on the bench for literally 30 to 40 minutes going, what do? I cannot make it to the car. And I don't want to make a scene and have people, it was my left leg, so it wasn't my driving leg. But I was I got to get to my car, but I don't know how to get. So I just sat there and okay, I'm just going to, and then I would try to stand up and I was no, it's not ready. It's not ready. And then eventually I was able to hobble / limp to the car and it was a scene and I needed help. And it was so embarrassing. Everybody's so nice about it, but I just didn't like all that attention and oh, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? And I didn't cry, but I was on the verge a couple times because I was so disappointed how I was oh, this is going to be easily. And then of course, oh, that happened to me and I was out for 6 months. Oh, everyone's coming up to me oh, you popped your calf muscle. Oh, you're going to be out. Oh, I was out for 3 months. And it's still not the same. I'm don't tell me that right now. I'm on the verge of tears. That's what made me cry. Not only the pain made me cry, but then the thought of not playing pickleball for as long as I imagined. Anyway, long story longer. So we went to Universal. I hobbled and hobbled and hobbled. I probably should have gotten not a wheelchair, but one of those things you put your healthy knee on or your unhealthy knee on and you just kind of like a scooter, but not a scooter. I don't know. I didn't, but I should have. It got a little better, but driving 3 hours to Orlando was no bueno because I got out of the car and I'm girls, I was with all of the Lily's friends. I'm girls, I'm going to get out of the car and I'm going to go check in to the hotel, but it's going to be really bad how bad I'm walking because it's been locked up it's been sitting here for the last 3 hours. And I got out and they're oh, Miss Kelly. It was really sweet. They were so sweet to me. Anyway, So the next day, we go to church at like the 6:30 service because we missed the AM one that we usually go to. This is such a long story, but I promise there's a funny outcome. So this just proves how powerful your thoughts are. And so we drove separate cars. I'm standing at the doorway waiting for her so we can walk in together. And as she's walking up, I'm thinking, wow, she's so beautiful. Like she's so graceful. I just braided her hair at home. And so she had like these tendrils coming down. And she just has like such, in my mind, this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking these thoughts. She's such a classic beauty. Like I wish I was that like with it or like that stylish when I was 17 years old, 17, 18, ready to go off to college. And like she's such a classic beauty and has so much grace, and her middle name's Grace. And so I'm thinking all these like beautiful thoughts, and I'm about to tell her these things like, you're just such a classic beauty is what I was going to say. And she goes, what's up with your hair? And why are you're still limping pretty bad? Like, oh my God. And she's like, food all over your shirt. It was so funny because as she's walking up, I'm having all these loving thoughts. And as she's walking up, she's thinking, my mom is a hot mess express. And I was, because it was windy. I was barely like, when you're injured, you do the very little effort to get ready because it takes a lot of effort to get ready. Like I remember thinking, I gotta get something out of the kitchen. Oh God, I gotta get something out of the kitchen. That means you have to limp all the way to the kitchen or hobble. It's just a lot of mind management. No, it's a lot of exhausted energy because you have to be so conscious about all the things. So you get more tired easier, if that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't, but it was just so funny how I'm having all these loving thoughts as she's walking up, and she's having all these like, oh my gosh, my mom is a hot mess. I had food all over me. My hair was all over the place. I'm limping. I think I might even have an ice pack, like ace bandage to my leg. So I wasn't feeling all that great. Anyway, that was just really funny. And I was talking about that because I was talking about how graceful they are and how stylish they are at this age. They just have like couth. I don't know how else to describe it. Anyway, so I did a lot of skin damage to my face. It was what my long-winded way of saying what I just said was. So go to herbalfacefood.com. You could literally close your eyes and click and get anything on there, and it's amazing. I love the cream, probably is my favorite. I told you the cream story last week when I put too much on, and that was the day I got injured. That's right. The day I got injured was the day that I went to pickleball, and I was literally like orange. Who's the orange one from Willy Wonka? Is it Oompa Loompa? Like I cannot, and they were all so helpful, but I cannot believe how orange I was. If you want to see the video of me limping through Walgreens, send me an email and I'll send it to you. It is actually hilarious because I'm trying to explain to my friends how injured I really am. And like, I think I can go, but I don't know if I can go because this is how I'm walking. And they were taking me out that night for my birthday dinner. Like it was a whole thing. So I was like, I want to go and I want to see Lily in her element with all of her friends. And this is one of their last trips together and like that I can go on, and all the things were going through my mind. So I'm like, I'm reviewing that all in the video. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys, I'm orange. I had no idea. It was all over my neck. It was so embarrassing. So anyway, I'm a big believer in Herbal Face Food. I wear it every morning and night, and I absolutely love it, especially the cream, the soap, all the serums, all the things. So go to herbalfacefood.com, use the coupon code HARMONY20 to get 20% off your first order, and that's a way to let Herbal Face Food know that you are coming from our podcast. And it's a way to support our podcast too, which is not cheap to put out a podcast, but I love it. And I'm so excited that we're almost to episode 350. Like, what is happening? I wonder who our 400th guest should be. My dogs are staring at me right now. Do you guys want to be a guest on the show? So I found this on Facebook, and it took my breath away because so many people that I meet with, they have so much unwiring to do from their parents' messaging. And one of the most popular episodes that we've ever done is Your Parents Lied to You. And the concept is that we come from God. We come from something so much bigger than all of us even know. And so when we come through the birth canal and we come from that God-like energy, and the umbilical cord is cut, and then we look up at our parents and we assign them God-like qualities because we think that they are the end-all be-all. We don't know until we're like probably 25 that they're just humans trying to figure out human existence. They're just grown-ups having real-life experience and a grown-up experience. And they know a lot, and they also don't know a lot. And back in the day, like I said, there was no TikTok, Instagram, podcasting, YouTube. So they were literally just free-falling and just figuring it out as they go. And a lot of their parenting probably came from a lot of their parents. So you can see that generational passing on like they do with recipes and traditions. The same thing goes for energy and the way that we discipline and the way we talk to each other and the way we love and the way that we don't love, the way we show it and the way we don't show it. And so my point in all that is we give these godlike qualities to our parents and don't realize that they're just humans having the human experience. And we take all of what they feel about us as truth. And then anything that anybody else thinks about us that might be in the positive, like let's say our parents had negative feelings about us. Those negative feelings had nothing to do with you or me. They had everything to do with how they felt about themselves projected onto us. So if they had positive qualities about you, then they had positive qualities about themselves. If they had negative opinions about you, then they had negative opinions about themselves projected onto you. This we know because now we are a parent and all of our stuff is projected onto our kids unless we do mind management and do conscious thinking. They didn't have conscious parenting back in the day. So I heard this on, I think it was a Facebook reel. It's written by the Fallen Poet, and he says, my book, it comes from his book, Between Heaven and Earth, and it is so powerful. So I'm going to play it for you now.
Someday you'll figure your parents out, not when you're little, but years later. When life starts handing you the same choices they once had to make, you'll see the way they loved, or the way they didn't know how, the effort they tried to give, and the things they couldn't. You'll notice how they treated each other, how they carried stress, how they spoke when they thought no one was listening. And then it clicks. You were always watching, always learning. Sometimes they'll be the example you want to follow, and other times the reminder of what not to repeat. Either way, you'll understand them more than you ever thought you would, because someday, every child does.
Okay, tell me that wasn't amazing, because I want everybody to unlink their worthiness and their value being tied to their parents' worthiness and their value. When you can see your parents as a human having a human experience, then you have true freedom, because you realize, like, even if they had very positive thoughts about you, you realize that it was just projection. Because a lot of times when our parents think that we hung the moon, we go out and become a grown-up, and then we expect everybody in our life to think that we hung the moon. Does that make sense? Same goes for, conversely, if they didn't think we hung the moon, then we assume that everybody in our life that we deal with does not think that we hung the moon. And then we spend our whole life trying to prove to people, no, literally, I do hang the moon. I am worthy and I am valuable. So when you can unlink the chains of their worthiness and value being attached to your worthiness and value, that is where true freedom comes from. And I love this, the last line. It says, either way, you'll understand them more than you ever thought you would, because someday every child does. And I don't know what the rest of the lines go, because this is just an excerpt. That's a hard word for me to say. And I imagine it goes something along the lines of, either way, you'll understand them more than you ever thought you would, because someday every child does. Because, and I would continue it on, I'm assuming it goes somewhere in this path, because every child does, because every child grows up and becomes an adult. And talking about people who become parents, because every child does, because every child eventually becomes a parent. Not all of them, but the ones that are listening to this podcast are most likely parents, or parents to be, or want them in the future, or having issues with infertility. And this is where true freedom begins, because you understand where your parents came from. Once you become a parent, you're like, whoa, this parenting gig is harder than I thought. It's harder than it looks. It's kind of like watching pickleball. You're like, that looks easy. And if you ever read any pickleball comments, people trash pickleball in the comments. Like, oh my God, what a dumb sport. Oh my gosh, you might as well just be playing sit down ping pong while you're at it. Like, they trash it. Not all of them, and I'm like, it's actually harder than it looks. And so parenting, I don't know about you, but parenting is much harder than I thought it would be. Like, emotionally harder. When they're younger, it's physically harder. It's just like, whoa. And then you have financial stresses. Then you have health stresses. And then you're raising your parents as you're raising your children as your parents get older. It's like, there's so many balls to juggle. And of course, when we're kids, we don't know all the balls that our parents are juggling. But we have a sense of appreciation, a sense of understanding, I would say, of all that they were dealing with. And if they were not taught healthy coping mechanisms to deal with all they have to deal with, then they might have turned to the bottle. They might have turned to drugs. They might have turned to neglect, because it's much easier to work my day away, they say, versus coming home and dealing with the stress, because I don't know what to do with the screaming child or my sister who was rebellious. So it kind of gives you, it helps you to drop into compassion and understanding, but not like let them off the hook because if they did something that they shouldn't have done, it doesn't give them a free pass. It just allows you to realize that it has nothing to do with you and your worthiness and your value. It's like, oh, that was all their junk they were trying to figure out. Just like I'm trying to figure out all of my junk. It does not excuse it. If there was abuse, neglect, alcoholism, drugs, affairs, all the things, it doesn't excuse it. It doesn't make it okay. It doesn't let them off the hook, so to speak. It lets you off the hook. And that is true freedom. Because when we're younger, all that messaging we just take on as our own. We're not good. We're not good. We're not good. We're lazy. We're this, we're that. And all that messaging is just, we're just brainwashed to believe it. But we realize like, oh, that was just them projecting how they felt about themselves onto me. You were innocent little kid in all of it, just absorbing it like a sponge and not knowing any different and not having discernment and not having a filter and not having conscious parenting work and not having the perspective that you do now as a grown-up, as a parent, trying to figure it out, just like they were trying to figure it out. And some of them did and some of them didn't. I like this line too. It says, how they spoke when they thought no one was listening. And then it clicks. You were always watching, always learning. Sometimes they'll be the example you want to follow, and other times a reminder of what not to repeat. And that, my friend, is how we have more harmony in the home. I love you guys. I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye. Hey, mamas, thanks for listening. If you had any ahas, clicks, or those lightning bolt moments while listening, you have to check out my free parenting bootcamp, where we take all of this to the next level and we try to create even more awakenings for ourselves so that we can connect more with our kids and never yell at them again. You can sign up at www.coachingkelly.com. And if you really want to fill up my love cup, send me an email of what your aha was, what your click was, what was that lightning bolt moment while you were listening. I want nothing more in life than for you to have harmony in your home and to learn how to be an imperfect mom like me, which allows your kids to be imperfect too, each and every day. Thanks for listening.